What nerdigans? This is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and today's hashtag book nerdigan discussion is part 2 of Endless by Jessica Shirvington. If you have not read Embrace, Entice, Emblaze, or Endless, or have not watched any of my book nerdigan discussion videos on these books, including part 1 Endless, which I will have in the description box below, what the commie and Arceus are you doing here? You need to go read the books, go watch the videos, which, by the way, Kelly Keaton likes my videos. Yes, I got a message from Kelly Keaton saying she likes my videos, which made my day. So, please, if the authors like the videos, you need to go watch the videos too and read the books. And then we come back and we can talk about them because, oh my god, I love Endless, I love Empowered, and oh my god, yes, let's do it. So we left off at Violet's testing. And Violet has, Violet's testing is really intense because Rainer even mentioned before she went into it that it's going to be really hard because not only does she have the mental obstacles, but she has to get the vote from the assembly, which, if they approve, she will become that's when she'll become an official member of the Gregory population. And, you know, it's just the votes that she's not going to get is Josephine, Drenson, and Adele, because Adele sides with Drenson, and Josephine and Drenson are complete pricks. So the people that Violet have to win are basically Seth, Decima, Valerie, and Hakan. And you can't use Gregory daggers in the exam either. So I thought it was sweet that she gave it to Lincoln, and it just reminded me of in Blaze when when they went to go visit the keeper. I thought that was cute. So this whole thing, we already knew the exam was going to be rigged based on how Josephine was, because Josephine's just totally out to get Violet and make her look bad. But so Violet chose the weapon of choice for Violet was the Dragonfly katanas, and so basically she has a katana, and the other katana went to Decima. And I have to say this, it reminds me, the battle between her and Decima, it reminds me of Urza versus Scarlet in the Endless arc of Fairy Tail. It does, especially when Urza is in the equipped form with with her katana and the red pants and the bandage top and her hair up in that ponytail. That's what I'm talking about. I swear to Kami and Arceus, Violet reminds me so much of Urza. She does. But Lincoln, in a way, Lincoln is kind of like Jalal, but Lincoln is not corrupted by evil like Jalal. But that's a difference. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. But anyway, so the rules were to draw blood 3 times. Whoever draws blood 3 times first wins. And yeah, and I thought it was sweet that Lincoln's power crest Violet's for encouragement before the fight started. Like, this shit was brutal, and I mean, there was sliced into the spine. That's how the first blood was drawn, was when Decima slashed Violet's spine. And I liked how Jessica said how Jessica had Violet think that Decima stalks like a tiger, strikes like a snake, and I love it. And then Violet drew second blood with the roll and slashed the Decima's side, and Violet thought, I liked how Violet thought, I am fast, I am strong, and I will not be bested or defeated. As soon as I read that, I was like, yep, that's Urza. Violet is totally Urza. She is Urza in Gregory form. I swear to Kami and Arceus, she is Urza in Gregory form. It's hella true. But I also thought of Piccolo from in Dragon Ball Z Abridged when he's chanting to himself, when he says, "I can win, you can win, you can do." Like, fuck. Damn it, I had it a second ago. You can win, you can. Fuck, I can't think of it right. I can't do it right. You feel great, you can win, you can do this. That's what I was thinking. I can win, I feel great, I can do this. That's what I was thinking. And I liked how she wrote that, and warrior instinct took over, and instead of dodging, she rolled into the pathway for the deep cut, which is good strategy. And then Decima is a beast. She repaid the favor by nicking her and using her katana to nick Violet in the forehead with a fast swipe. And then the next round went to Violet, thanks to, somehow she was able to get a kick into, Violet was able to get a kick because that's her greatest strength, and that's something that she's done consistently in her fighting, is kicking. And she kicked Decima's exposed side, and then she sliced it. And like at this point, it was hella funny because everyone's cheering either Violet or Decima, and you could hear Spence in the crowd cheering, "Come on, eat it, bring it home." And like Violet's thinking, "Oh, hi, Spence. I didn't see you. Good to know you're there." And then the last round, this is something that Urza would do. So basically, Violet switched her katana to her other hand, and as Decima spun in midair, perfectly aligned with Violet's upper chest, Violet's left arm came up, and her blade skimmed Decima's extended forearm, drawing blood. And they had almost struck simultaneously, and Decima struck Violet in the chest. And yeah, that would have been considered a kill shot probably, but because it's first blood, and Violet hit her before Decima did, Violet won. And the thing is and another thing that reminded me of Urza is Violet refused to relinquish her blade until she knew it was safe. And Scarlet, I got a feeling Scarlet, Urza's Edelus counterpart, would have done the same thing. That she would have shocked the crowd and answered the question if she would have won with a bow and held her arms out and her katana resting flat across them in an offering to Violet. And then then Decima lifted her head and said, "Warrior." And it's like, dude, see, Decima knows Violet is a badass. Decima knows that she's valuable. It's just Josephine and Dresden are extremely power hungry. And that makes them good as antagonists, if you ask me. And Dresden is like declaring shenanigans by declaring a tiebreaker, but Decima's like, no, there's no need. Violet won. And she is right, and Violet realized it too, that she barely hit Decima first. And then the mental portion of the exams was like, it just dragged on and on and on. Luckily, Jessica kept it to a paragraph or less than that, so I was happy with that. Thank you for doing that. Because it included breaking barriers and glamours, and yeah, and Josephine's not happy. And the thing is with the final test that really bothered me, Josephine was such a bitch. I mean, like, she had grip, like, yeah, fine, you could do a lie detector test, sure. But and the first question wasn't bad. It was just asking about if she knew who her angel maker was. Whatever. I mean, that's fine. I want to know who her angel maker is too. I do now because I reread Empowered. But we'll talk about that, and then hopefully the next book Nerdigan video about Empowered. And then the second question was about Phoenix. That led to about the relationship with Phoenix and how it led to the connection between an event where he healed her injuries, and which formed a connection between the two of them that can manipulate Violet's survival. And it's like, oh fuck, it's the Gregory politics. And then the third question was about giving the Gregory scripture to Phoenix after he threatened to hurt Steph, and thereby endangering the lives of all Gregory. And I loved how Griffin and Lincoln stepped in after she said yes, and then Griffin said that is my truth, and Lincoln said that is my truth too, and they're like, and they both said that's our truth, and I was like, yes, go Lincoln and Griffin. And I gotta say, Josephine, you stupid bitch, you got fucked over that round. And so then they did the vote, and the pass vote was Rainer, Will, Decima, and Seth, and then the fail vote was Valerie, Hakan, Drenson, Josephine, and Adele. So it's major shenanigans. Major shenanigans need to be declared here. They do. And So basically, I would have done the same thing that Violet did, where she just like ran before she started crying. I would have done it too, because you can't, like, when you're a Gregory warrior, you gotta understand you don't let them see your weaknesses. As a Saiyan warrior, I understand that. As a Super Saiyan got a Super Saiyan, you don't show weakness. No, hell to the fuck no, you don't show weakness, especially to the assembly. And I probably would have had a panic attack too. And I wouldn't want to destroy the assembly. That would look bad, especially since Lilith did that. Yes, Lilith decided to attack as Lincoln was comforting Violet, which I thought was really, really sweet. I loved it. He was holding her, and he was like, "It's okay. I'll talk to them. We'll figure this out. Don't worry. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave." I was like, "Oh, Lincoln, 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 Lincoln. I want a Lincoln." Anyway, so Lilith caused explosions in the command building and on the pathway too, and Hakan took a ton of damage from that because he was trying to use his shield or use his gravity power to keep the pathway up so the rest of the students could get across the pathway safely. And they get down there, and Lilith is just a bitch. So Lilith kidnapped Evelyn, but she left her father alive, left Violet's father alive, with an exile guard. And Lilith said that she will send Phoenix back to retrieve Violet in 2 days so that Violet could attempt to save Evelyn or die trying. Yeah, Lilith will get a little bit more sadistic. You guys know, if you guys have read this, book nerdigans know this, that are watching this, that have read the book like they should have, they know what's coming. They do. Oh my god, when Lincoln and Violet escaped, it was insane, because Lincoln's like, we gotta get the hell out of here, because Griffin believes that Josephine was going to try and frame Violet and say that she was sympathetic to exiles and that she would be locked up and throw away the key. Violet would be. And the escape, oh my god, down the service elevator, it was so freaking, oh god, it was painful to read and disgusting, because the way Jessica described it, it was, oh my god, it was so gross. Oh my god. Because Lincoln was going down the service elevator on the cables, barehanded, so like she was describing like how you could, describing the smell of burning flesh, and then when they hit the bottom, the bones, oh my god, the bones sticking out. Oh my god. Oh my god, I just ate too. That's not a good thing to think about. But yeah, the escape was awesome, and how they made it out of the academy. And they made it to the Church of the Guardian Angel. And yes, Lincoln, you do have a hero complex. You do. And I don't think that is a bad thing. I think that this is a very sexy thing to have a hero complex. Fenris has a hero complex, and I find that very sexy. And I know all the other female book nerdigans know this. So the priest, Father Peters, this is at the Church of the Guardian Angel. So he's a retired Gregory, and he has the power to influence emotions in this case to instill calm. And like Violet's like, fuck this. I am dealt with enough of people messing with my emotions. I'm gonna kill you if you don't stop. And Link's like, don't kill him. He's an ally. Violet, just chill the fuck out. I was cracking up. And he's a friend of Griffin's. And this church is, ironically, this is like one of the only places in Manhattan where they can hide from Josephine sources. The other place being the club. So, and I like Father Peters. Like, it's hilarious how Violet goes from wanting to kill Father Peters to liking Father Peters, and I like him too. He's like, I love what he says. He's like, now what are we expecting, and just how pissed off are they going to be? And they go, and this is as they're heading down the basement of the church, and he's showing them all the weapons, and I love what he says. It's like Violet's like, why the heck do you have all these weapons? And Father Peters is like, we're in New York City, and I'm trying to run an honest church. If I have to blow up something occasionally to get rid of the darkness, I'm not above it. I'm like, I like this priest. This guy is cool in my book. I wish I could meet some rabbis like this guy. If there are Gregory rabbis like this priest, we need him. Let's see. Oh yeah, and the basement is lined with titanium. And according to Father Peters, and it makes sense that it works on exiles and Gregory, because they keep in mind exiles are angels and Gregory's are humans with angel essence. But it just doesn't work as well on exiles versus Gregory, and I'm kind of curious if it just has something to do with the human part of the Gregory versus the exiles. Um, but yeah, it is better than nothing. But like seriously, when they got there and Violet was healing Lincoln, Lincoln was like about, I think Lincoln was like half dead when she finally fully healed him, and Lincoln's like, oh no, I'm fine. I don't need a senzu bean. I don't need a healing kiss. Like, dude, shut up, you do. And after he was healed, like Griffin just came in, and he brings good news and bad news. And the good news is Violet's dad is safe in the infirmary, and he's injured, but he's safe. And the bad news is Josephine is a complete bitch, like the Josephine in Gods and Monsters, and maybe Josephine is a vampire. Josephine is a vampire, Gregory. That's what it has to be. Josephine is raising suspicions about Violet's motivations and calling into question Lincoln and Griffin's loyalties to the Assembly. And this is no small allegation to make. And by highlighting Violet's relationship and bond to Phoenix has enabled Josephine to inspire some support within the Assembly and more broadly throughout the Academy. It's like, motherfucker, that bitch. And all those guards that were guarding Evelyn dead, as well as a dozen Gregory. And none of the Gregory we really care about were hurt. Thank Kami and Arceus for that. A few students are farther worse for wear, but Hakan, who bore the brunt of the explosion, it was Hakan who did, anyway. And Josephine hadn't counted on Lilith's willingness to literally blow up everything. Okay, seriously, Josephine. Lilith is the mother of darkness. She's like the most evil angel of all times. And she loves to cause chaos and destruction. You really didn't think that she was gonna blow up everything. Josephine, get off the Popo acid. Seriously, Josephine is on Mr. Popo acid. That's a dangerous drug. I mentioned this before. She's seeing that all these squares make a circle, and that's why there's a halo above New York City. Oh, and now that Evelyn's fears become a reality, Josephine has been looking for a way to control Violet. Yeah, no motherfucker's gonna control me. And partly Griffin believes what Josephine actually believes in what she said, and during Violet's testing, that Violet wouldn't put the greater good over saving those who Violet cares about. No, of course not. That's what she would do, because Violet is a leader like that. But more than anything, Violet threatens Josephine's position. And I love that Griffin says, ironically, her motivations are good but delusional. See? She's on Popo acid. She believes in Gregory and what role they play, and she believes she is the only one that will put loyalty above everything else. And Josephine has accused Violet of orchestrating the exile break-in for the purposes of her mother's escape, and she claimed Violet has been working with Phoenix this whole time, initially because of love, now out of loyalty to their bond, and in return, Phoenix enabled the resurrection of Evelyn. Of course, there's implied guilt because Violet and Lincoln ran. So seriously, if the Gregory are seriously buying this, then they are either taking gallons of Mr. Popo acid, or maybe Josephine put Mr. Popo acid in the Kool-Aid and gave it to the Gregory population, as well as Tin Hat. Yeah, the Gregory are freaking sheeple right now. This is meh. But at least Josephine, in some bizarre way, considers Griffin a friend. Yeah, it's got to be the most bizarre friendship. And plus, he's too big of a fish to fry to get in trouble. So, yeah, Griffin is awesome. And thank Kami and Arceus for Will, Raynor, and Evelyn's smart thinking. And fuck Gregory politics. Honestly, fuck Gregory politics. They actually care about saving the kids than the Gregory politics. And that I just didn't understand. It's like Josephine is supposed to be all for Gregory, but she's more all for her. Like right now, she's more all for her than for all Gregory, and that's just how it comes off as. So Griffin and Evelyn already have a plan, including a safe house that Jonathan and Evelyn have on the Hudson for Lincoln and Violet to use, which actually makes sense because if you guys remember from the previous Book Nerd Again video, I mentioned that Evelyn said Lilith loves the Hudson and that she has property there. So it only makes sense for Evelyn and Jonathan to have a safe house there. So, yeah. And Griffin is staying in New York, and they're coming. Don't worry. They're going to come and face Lilith. They will. And with Dapper and Sal, who are searching for the 13th ingredient as a go-between if any intel about Phoenix and Lilith pops up. And plus, if they're at the safe house, it'll be a lot easier for Phoenix to find Violet. And it turns out that the property where the church is on, he's owned it for 400 years, long before it became a church, obviously. And the original tunnels run underneath and lead to Grand Central Station, which is pretty badass. So, Exiles, you aren't the only one with the tunnel system under New York. Oh, and oh my god, when they get to Grand Central Station, like, Violet just feels so bad, and I understand where she's coming from, because she feels like a burden to Lincoln, because she's threatening his position at the assembly. But I love what Lincoln says. It's so sweet. He's like, let's get this straight right now. I'm not going anywhere. You don't need to protect me, V. I'm by your side, and nothing will get rid of me. I was like, oh, Lincoln. Oh, I want a man like that. I need a man like that. It reminds me of, well, it doesn't remind me of Fenris as much, because Fenris and Fenris did not have to deal with this bullshit with Mason, to be honest. So this is great. So they took the train like halfway, which I thought was kind of weird, and then Lincoln hotwired a car, and Violet's staring at him like, who the fuck is this man? It's sexy that Lincoln is it bad that I think it's sexy that Lincoln knows how to hotwire a car in 30 seconds? Like I know Rafi did in Transcendent, but man, a pretty white boy like Lincoln, oh my god, that's just really hot. I love my bad boys, especially if they're blonde and green eyed. And I love his mother's mantra, which is always thinking to be prepared in desperate times, and that's why he knows how to hotwire cars in 30 seconds. So they have to go to the so according to Evelyn's instructions, they have to go to the Cold Springs General Store before the safe house. And I thought it was funny, like right before they went there because it was closed, they went to the bakers who just literally took bakery, which the baker literally took out the bread, and they're like leeches on the freaking window because they're starving. I probably would have been too. And like the baker was awesome, and you know they bought bread, and they warned him about Mary, the owner, and because he said basically that the owner's kind of a bitch, and I'm like thinking Lincoln, because they went in this general store, and Lincoln tries to protect Violet by standing in front of her, and Violet's like not having it. It's like, dude, Lincoln, Violet is no damsel in distress. No need to try and protect her now. And thank Kami and Arceus, Mary knew who Evelyn was because that's how Violet introduced herself, and allowed them to come upstairs for tea, and they shared and she's like, well, you guys have the bread, so I'll provide the tea. And so 60 years ago, Mary saw Evelyn and Jonathan trekking through the woods, and she didn't want to believe all the rumors in town. So she followed them down. She followed them down a long dirt road all the way down to the river and lost them. And Evelyn let Mary see her through the years, and even took to seeing her more when she took over her pa's store early in the morning and late at night. And they became friends. And the last time she saw Evelyn was 30 years ago, and she was alone, and she was in bad shape. And that was after Jonathan died. I think this was right after Jonathan died. And I agree, because she was saying, she was saying that Violet looked like a fighter. I love what she said about Lincoln, though. She's like, I agree with Mary about Lincoln. He is built like a billboard that screams fighter. I'm like, God, that man is sexy. And Mary is freaking awesome. And she let Lincoln and Violet gather all the supplies they needed, no charge. And she even bagged them for them, gave them a map, gave them homemade jelly, and the key to the place too. And seriously, Lincoln, Violet is getting a kettle for coffee. leave her alone. And it was a good thing that Lincoln looked up Jonathan's file at the academy, because they got to the end of the road, and they were like, what the fuck, where's the house? It turns out that Jonathan is one of the most powerful glamour wielders of all time, and even after all these years, where is it? Even after all these years, after his death, his glamour still holds. It's as if he actually left a piece of himself here. And I'm actually curious if that's the case at the other safe houses. I don't think that it was mentioned in Empower, and I'm curious. Comment section, if you guys want to. I'm curious what your theories are on about Jonathan's glamour and the other safe houses. Because remember, Evelyn has tons of safe houses, so. Yeah, and Jonathan actually found a way to manipulate his glamour to shield the safe house from the elements, and the house is literally protected indefinitely somehow. There was no damage, which I thought was badass. And I love when they went in the house, like the house it's just covered in dust, but other than that, it looks nice. And they go down, and then when they look at the weapons room, it's like, damn, they are well stocked. Like, they had everything. They had flamethrowers, Gregory blades, machine guns, which they probably used like all these Gregory blade shavings to enhance them, like similar to Samuel, what he did. And there were possibly great blades of retired or fallen Gregory, and usually Gregory blades disappear when a Gregory has fallen. But according to Lincoln, some people say if another Gregory is there at the time one of us falls, it can be claimed by another. And the reason they usually disappear is more to prevent them to getting into the wrong hands. And Lincoln, oh my god, this scene pissed me off. Like, Lincoln was kissing Violet's neck, and like, it was really hot, and I was like, damn it, why did you stop kissing Violet's neck? And I would have been like when he stopped and he was like, that was selfish, I was like, no. I would have been like, if I was Violet, I'd be like, no, mine attack. And seriously, Violet, wring his neck, and bullshit, Lincoln, you weren't being selfish. So Lincoln's taking first watch, so Violet goes to bed and sleeps, and Yuri and Knox visit Violet's dreams, and, because remember, Violet has a dream, well, I guess Violet got a dream walking ability from, Evelyn, because that was Evelyn's strength, was dream walking. So Yuri and Knox visit Violet's dreams and inform her that they will aid in ridding Violet of the hag. I love how they call Lilith the hag. But she must bring her to them in physical form, fully subdued. And Knox and Yuri will open the connection like they did in Santorini by using willpower and sight. But Violet needs an anchor. And according to Yuri, it must be someone more than human and near to your body, and one with whom you share significance. And their very existence in your world allows you to be drawn back there when you are ready, though it isn't pleasant. And Knox said, I love what Knox said, love, blood, insufferable hate. Of course you had to add that, Knox. And Yuri's like one that invokes passions. Like, Violet thought it was Lincoln, but I was thinking at first I thought it sounded like Phoenix, which it is. But Violet was like, please let it be Lincoln. And she was like, please let it be Lincoln. But of course the angels are fucking cryptic. But I was thinking, just tell her it's Lincoln so they can get to the business. Seriously. And Violet finally realized that Phoenix has been trying to help, and shit, like, Violet, motherfucker, it didn't take you that long. Oh my god. So when Lincoln comes back from like his nap, oh my god, Lincoln, look, the way Jessica described Lincoln, I would jump his bows. I would have jumped him. And his t-shirt should have been off, there, like, because his hair was messy, and he in his sweatpants and a little skin showing at the waistband. And seriously, I'm sorry, Nerdikins, I am jumping him with a mine attack, especially when he says want some company, and Violet's like, that is a loaded question. And I'm like, how is that a loaded question? And damn it, it had to be happen, but bringing up Phoenix killed the mood, even if the kids are involved. It really sucked that she had to bring up the Phoenix, but yeah. And during the 1 minute time call, yeah, Dictator Lincoln is kind of in the call. With Steph, apparently this is so funny. I love Onyx. Apparently some exiles recognized Onyx in Cairo, and they weren't happy to see him. And let's just say he's pissed off a lot of people and exiles around the world. And wow, and also it looks like Onyx's old connections paid off. A few of his old connections were able to find them a source to find the 12th ingredient for the cures, which was pretty awesome. And I was thinking, I knew I liked Dapper for a reason too. The man is seriously connected, and people are scared shitless of him. They drop to their knees and all but hand over their firstborn to him. And Steph isn't sure if they worship him or fear him, and while that makes sense since he's descendant of the first patriarch. I love Dapper and Onyx. They're awesome. Oh, and Steph said that Griffin told her that her dad is fine and confirmed that Evelyn had been waiting for Lilith to make her move. Well, no shit. And Dapper knows what the 13th ingredient is, but won't tell Steph, and he has to talk to some elder first, but it definitely is from the angel realm. And shit. Lincoln, quit timing. I know you're horny, but shit, calm the fuck down. Because Lincoln's like getting all antsy. I know it was for security purposes, but I'm just thinking, damn, he's probably just horny as shit. And I loved it when because Lincoln was getting all pissed and he wanted to know if Violet loved Phoenix or not. And it's like, no shit, Lincoln. Violet doesn't love Phoenix. You knew this already. She loves you, damn it, especially since at that time you said you couldn't be together and she was about to jump off a cliff for you. She didn't want to love you and love Phoenix, but shit, Lincoln. And this is what Violet said about Phoenix. And he made it better. He made the pain go away, replaced it with other things, and I think I became addicted to his abilities. No, not the sex. It was the power to control emotions. Not the sex. But the answer is no, and I'm sorry for everything that happened. I'm sorry to you, and I'm sorry to him, too. And I was thinking, finally! I was like, oh, Lincoln! And when he said this, he was like, Violet and Eden, you have nothing to apologize for. And I was like, okay, Violet, you need to do if you're not going to do it, I will do a mind attack on Lincoln. And then Phoenix had to appear that second at the speed of wind to pick a fight with Lincoln. And I'm like, Link? Seriously, don't tell Violet to go inside. Violet got pissed the fuck off, too. And Holy Call Me Arceus, like, Violet invited him, and whoa, that shot Lincoln, too. And Phoenix, seriously, not fair. And Phoenix was, like, being such an ass, like, throwing that they fucked already in Lincoln's face. And about time, or, like, because he's calling her lover. And I was thinking, about time, Violet, when she said this. She said, shut up, Phoenix. God, I'm sick of you calling me lover. You asked me for help. I know you did. I let down my shield. I showed you the way to us, because as crazy as it is, I think you might actually want to stop Lilith from hurting those kids. Now you can either come inside and talk with us, tell us what we need to know and how we can stop her, or you can go. But you, Lincoln, and your male egos will not be fighting tonight, because let me break it down. If either one of you lands a punch, this conversation is over, and those kids are going to die. I was like, thank you. Yes, Violet, put them in their place. And seriously, man, you gotta chill the fuck out. Violet went to put on the kettle on, and the silence was the total agreement for now. And I bet the look on their faces was so priceless. They were probably stunned as hell. It was hilarious. So Phoenix confirms that he is there to help. Where am I at? Okay, good. Phoenix is there that he's there to help. And help Lincoln and Violet save the kids, and he doesn't kill kids, and that he will either burn the Gregory scripture or give it to them. And I'm with Link. This reeks of setup. And Phoenix claims he never planned on giving Lilith the scripture and held out as long as he could, but alas, Lilith found out thanks to Oliver, and had no other choice. And Phoenix came for two things. One, Lilith wants you as her guest tomorrow night. That's what I'm supposed to find, and that's when I'm supposed to find you and bring you to her. She has Evelyn. This is from Phoenix's point of view, by the way. She is still alive. Lilith is offering you a chance to surrender. She has condemned both of you to death, but in return, for your submission. She has offered to reward you as many children that you can manage to save. And like Phoenix, this is how we find out with the cherubim, because yeah, like Phoenix, Lilith can't stand the cherubim. But unlike Phoenix, Lilith doesn't destroy them. Oh no. She's a little bit more creative, using modern day representation, which the cherubim despise to disrespect and send twisted messages to them. And Phoenix, this is on Phoenix on why Lilith hates the cherubim. Basically, they locked her out of Eden after she fled, and they drew their flaming swords and guarded the place so she could never return. And angels might be many things, but forgiving is not one of them. I actually suspect Lilith loved Adam as much as she was truly capable of loving anyone. I never understood how love and hate could be so strong, not until recently. Oh, poor Phoenix. And this is why Phoenix hates cherubim. When the seraphim decided I was an angel enough and branded me one of the abyss to have no home, no purpose, they took everything I was and stepped on it like I was no more than the dirt beneath their mighty feet. The cherubim were both light and dark. They cast me from the realm and locked me out with the seal of their given power. They hated me out of instinct because of Lilith. It's like, oh, poor Phoenix. I feel so bad for Phoenix. And Link, okay, Link is a guy and he is jealous and hardcore, totally. So here's what Lilith's game is, according to Phoenix. So basically, Violet will be strung up and shot with finger-length arrows. A child will be freed for each arrow she can survive until she can take no more, aka until Violet is dead. And Lincoln is required to go and watch and then execute him after Violet died. Seriously, Lilith is a sadistic motherfucker. I love what Lincoln says. Lincoln doesn't respond. That's great. So Lilith expects me to stand by and watch while Violet is tortured. That's never going to happen. Tell your psycho bitch of a mother to sit on the pointy end of her deal and twist. I was like, yeah, you go, Lincoln. Oh my god. And Okami and Arceus, the news from Phoenix gets worse. Seriously, curse that fucking bitch Lilith. I don't blame Lincoln for seeing red at this point. She knows we're connected. This is Phoenix still talking. She knows we're connected. She sensed the bond on me, and Oliver was only too happy to confirm it. She'll order me to reinstate your wounds if you are too strong. She'll stand by her word and release the children, but she won't want to lose too many. And about time, Phoenix knows what must be done. Soulmate time! And I love what Phoenix says here. You'd be best off if you considered every way to get as strong as possible before then. Yeah, this is kind of awkward. And oh shit, just because, and this is crazy, just because Phoenix is Lilith's son, she can actually force him to do her bidding. And at least we know if Lilith tries to kill Phoenix, after Link and Violet are dead, which she will, he will take her down with him. And remember in Blaze that we saw from Phoenix's POV chapter that he didn't kill Rudy on purpose. And he finally admitted it. And it's good to know Phoenix never wanted to kill kids. And Okami and Arceus, Phoenix heard Violet say she didn't love him, and this conversation is about to get awkward, turtles. And I feel so bad for Phoenix. This is so sad, what he says here. So damn hard. I wanted to be everything you deserved, and I wanted it for me too, but when we were together that night, I was so drunk on you. I knew the right thing to do, but I let the darkness take over. It's not an excuse, but it's in your, you can't blame him. It's in his nature because he's a dark exile. You can't blame him. But Phoenix does make a good point. Violet does make a good point. You went against your nature by saving her from a volcano, the people of Santorini, the kids that you guys are about to save, and also brought Evelyn back. And seriously, oh my god. So Lincoln is driving Phoenix back. And Violet's like, oh shit, they're gonna kill each other. I'm surprised if they don't kill each other. And which is understandable since Phoenix is a homing beacon for Lilith. And a hugs for Phoenix, and he said he's gonna find a way to save Violet. And oh, now soulmate time is coming, because Lincoln said this: next time I see you, you'll be lost to me forever. And it's seriously, and Lincoln just totally ruined the moment. He says, he's like, quit groping my woman. I thought it was hilarious. And when she's in the shower, she remembers what Lincoln, or not Lincoln, what Yuri said, even the greatest bringers of justice will only find salvation in surrender. This situation is what he meant. Surrender to Lincoln, shave your legs, and get sexy. And finally gets it. There's no reason that that her and Link can't be together. So now it's the time, and now it's get sexy for Lincoln because it's sexy soulmate bonding time. And oh my god, so when she's coming down the stairs, like this part of the book, I cried with tears of joy. And I want to know if you book nerdigans did too, okay? Alright, so here it goes. So Violet comes down the stairs to white lilies everywhere, and Lincoln is cooking dinner. And I'm like thinking, can I surrender now? And yes, Lincoln realized it's sexy time, and thank you, Abby and Arceus. Yes, and I love it. Violet is such a sex kitten, and she's like, Link, I'm not hungry. And it's like, oh shit, here we go. And I'm like thinking, can I have a sexy man like Lincoln who says I love you and carries me up the stairs and keeps kissing me and takes care of me slowly? Yeah, I would like that a lot. And like I said, I love the Dixon here. 50 Shades of Grey, eat your heart out. Like, remember I mentioned that tweet with Susan E? Susan E, this is the shit I'm talking about in my love scenes, in my sex scenes. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, I love it. So I'm gonna even read it too, because I want you guys to know what I'm talking about. I'd imagined this moment over and over in my dreams. I thought I knew how it would feel, but it wasn't what I had imagined. This moment transcended everything because when we joined, my soul so much more intense than my angelic power surged up and found his, entwining with it, drowning me in his essence and everything that felt like the sun. And then came the power, like a world when our abilities opened up to each other, and I felt the bond form, creating a gateway from one to another. I felt the rush of immense strength and was immediately in tune to his shadow finding abilities. If I wanted to draw on his powers, I could. It was all there was for the taking, just as mine were to him. And Lincoln says that the Violet's as powerful as an angel and can feel her power coursing through him. Wow. And I love it was like right afterwards, it was like, whoa, Violet, like Violet flipped him over, like right after like he released. It was like, damn, Violet's ready. And then they pass it, and then like the next morning, I'm like thinking, okay, can I wake up to a sexy shirtless Lincoln with pancakes and strawberries post sex and have him say I love you with everything that I am? And seriously, take me down, I am down for round 2. Please just do it. And of course, Lincoln Phoenix had to hit it out because, like, Violet asked him what happened. Like, Lincoln, they're guys. What do you expect? They have to hit it out. And like what Lincoln says to trust Phoenix, and when Lincoln says that, there's got to be something going on. And because of the soul bond, Lincoln is sure that he doesn't need his wristbands anymore, saying his senses would now flow from Violet to him and be stronger than anything he ever experienced before, which is badass. And, well, Lincoln confirmed that Violet is a dreamwalker and probably got it from Evelyn. And I see what you did, Jessica, right here. See what you did. With Violet, everything is about to end, isn't it? Lincoln, I love when Lincoln says this, too. Not us, V. Everything else may end, but not us. What we have, we're endless. I love the book, people! And I got to love how Lincoln is laughing before they walk to their death. I thought that was so funny, how Lincoln is just laughing his ass off. Like, what? Love is good on Lincoln. Where is it? I love it. And Phoenix knows, and the look on Lincoln's face is priceless, especially when Phoenix says, like Phoenix picks him up, and Phoenix says, "Can you at least control your goddamn emotions?" And Lincoln says, "I am," and I'm laughing. Oh my god, Lincoln is totally trolling Phoenix. It's great. Seriously, where is the sexy Gregory named Lincoln when you need him? When he says, "It is my privilege," he said, "It is my privilege to love you. Don't ever forget. No regrets, not one." Oh, it's so sweet. I love Lincoln. I want Give him to me. Let's see. So thank Kami for Phoenix. These exiles are out of control, and these exiles are out of control in Lilith's mansion. Like, they're going fucking nuts. And good boy Lincoln for not salivating like the other men, poor human men that are chained to Lilith's throne, covered in shadows. Yeah, Lincoln's abilities, man. And about to die. Like, seriously, these men were starving. It was sick. And Lilith separated them. And apparently Phoenix and Lincoln were making deals. And the cells, because like when they took Lincoln to where Evelyn is, and they put Violet in the jail where the kids were, and Phoenix, Lincoln made a deal with Phoenix to promise. He promised Lincoln that he would make sure that Violet was okay. So basically, they go into the cells with the children, and it's 5 and 10 per cell, and they've been left with nothing but a small bucket in the corner and nothing else. No beds, no blankets, only cold concrete and metal bars. And apparently Lilith has been busy collecting more future Gregory kids from Canada and Russia. Jesus Christ, like, it was disgusting how she's treating these kids. And the key to preventing the kids from being kidnapped by Lilith again, once freed, is to have her swear an oath, because she is a strong angel, she has to abide from it. Oh my god, this is so funny when she's talking to Nox, and Nox is in a sexy leather outfit. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. I like the suits, but the leather is hot too. And wow, he can knock out Violet apparently, because since he is appearing in a dream, and no crossing the realm for Nox, otherwise the hag will sense him. And yes, just answer. Just answer. This is a lesson from Nox. Just answer Nox's question about the color of his outfit, otherwise he will kill you. And Nox confirmed that Violet is the only one that can bring Lilith across the realm. And it's yeah, it's insane. And the kids were hitting Violet too. It was fucking hilarious to wake her up. They were like, "Are you okay? You just passed out randomly." But let's see. Oh yeah, and the poor kids, like, she was talking to the kids, it's bad enough they already lost one parent. The exiles, they were telling her how the exiles burned, tortured, and killed their surviving parent, and then kidnapped him. And I thought it was sweet that the kids called Phoenix Midnight Stars, and he snuck in food for them. That was so sweet. So apparently, Lilith made Violet's torture a big event, and Oliver is wearing a vampire outfit. And wow, some of the kids, like, as he's taking her up, Violet unleashed some of her power, her Violet Amethyst Mist, and some of the kids are like already reaching out and touching it. So it shows you that they're going to be strong Gregory someday. And Lilith has Violet put on the crucifix, and which is extremely original. And to Lilith's left, you have Evelyn chained and beaten bad. Basically, everything but her eyes were beaten. And to the right, you have Lincoln chained and beaten, but not as bad. And, you know, his shoulder's dislocated again. But they are both sending love. Like, yeah, Lincoln's always going to have dislocated shoulder in this book. Mostly, yeah, there's going to be some, I will point it out in Empower, but Endless is the book of Dark Exiles. I will say that for a fact. Looks like the Exiles of Light, most of the Exiles of Dark were there. It looks like the Exiles of Light are not happy and might go to war against the Darks again, aka the old ways. Because remember, it was an embrace. They mentioned that usually the Darks and Light Exiles hate each other. And there's another odd exile, and he's small and unassuming and bald, with wire-rimmed glasses, dressed in a conservative conservative gray suit and tie with a briefcase, and he's not the typical exile with no clear signature either. And Lilith, you bitch, you can't go back on your oath now. Even the bald exile said so. It will affect his investment. And thank you, weird exile, for unsettling Lilith. And the oath by Lilith is, no child released tonight will come to further harm by me or mine. And oh my god. So, I'm at the 50-minute mark. Okay. Which one do I have left? Alright, yeah, let me stop here then. Alright, yeah, I didn't think I was going to do a part 3, but I am going to do a part 3. And I'm going to start at the main event with Lilith, Lilith, or not Lilith, it's going to start with Phoenix with Phoenix shooting, Violet. But, hold on a second, I gotta just move this down a little bit just to make sure I know where I'm at. Here. There we go. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think. What you guys think about, I know that I probably should have covered a little bit more in here. Or, I'm just thinking if I should just say fuck it and do the rest of it right now. Let's see if I, screw it. Let me just keep going. Okay, so basically, Phoenix I think Phoenix shot like 12 arrows, and Onyx arrived, and Lilith offered Onyx the chance to become an exile. Yeah, if he'd turn his back on Violet. And I was like thinking, Onyx, don't fall for it. It's a trap. And Onyx is a sneaky bastard. So apparently Onyx found out during his travels that the potion is called the Afterlife and needed some of the mercury from Violet's wrist as the 13th ingredient. And that's why when he stabbed Violet's wrist, because that's what he wanted to do, he said, lucky number 13, and he takes the arrow, and thank you for basically telling Lilith to fuck off since you have another, good man, Onyx. And it takes 40 arrows before Lilith got pissed off enough to order for Phoenix to bring up Violet's wounds. Holy commie Arceus, this is crazy. 67 arrows before Violet blacked out, and Violet wakes up, and Phoenix says she saved 71 children, and Onyx and Dapper got them to the academy, but Dapper's healing abilities won't fast enough, and Lincoln and Phoenix used the last bit of their strength to keep Violet alive, and Lilith didn't want, it was Phoenix used the last bit of his strength, I'm sorry. Phoenix used the last bit of his strength to keep Violet alive, and Lilith didn't want Violet to die an unconscious death. And this is where shit gets real. Phoenix killed Violet, and that means Lincoln's soul shattered in Lilith's mansion. Yep, Lincoln's soul is gone. But, oh my gosh, that was, let me get to the next part. So, Violet is not in heaven. So, according to Violet's angel maker Lochmet, when people die, when we can simulate a place for them, a place for their trials, a dream, a vision, but no one has the ability to create a space in the universe with us. You are the only one. And it kind of reminds me of Starcrossed, of Helen's ability to be a world builder in Starcrossed, that she was the only one. Well, besides Atlanta and the other one, I can't remember her name right now. But that's what it reminds me of, this ability. Oh, but it went from rain to a beautiful world of fields and sun and with rainbows instead of nothing, like it did. Well, that's how it was in Starcrossed. Oh, and it's not Violet's time to die. It turns out humans like to be complicated, and Violet is the only ingredient needed. Yeah, that's true. Violet is alive, but Lincoln's soul is still gone, but Phoenix connection to Violet is gone, but Lincoln's soul is still shattered, motherfucker. And Phoenix gave Violet his essence, because remember, new death and new life it was the only way to release her from their bond. And Lincoln knew this would happen. And Phoenix and Lincoln agreed that they would kill him. And seriously, don't fucking do it. And if it wasn't for Phoenix absorbing her emotions, Violet wouldn't be able to function. And Dapper's way of thinking is pretty smart too, because Violet's going to Lilith's mansion whether they like it or not. And I like what Dapper was thinking, especially if we hog tie you until Griffin gets here. And I love Spence. Spence is like, I'm coming with you, Eden. Don't care, I'm coming. I'll go invisible until the time is right. You're not my keeper, Eden. If I'm dead, it's on me. And Spence is coming. So Spence is responsible for the Gregory Scroll. I love Spence. That's why Spence is like my best friend. Oh, the Small Weird Exile knows shenanigans are about to happen. He does. And holy commune Arceus. So, like, Lilith inflicted the plagues on Oliver with a touch and then stabbed and killed him. So, no wonder she is the bringer of death and disease. It's like, motherfucker, Lilith is hardcore. Like, Spence threw the katanas to Violet when she needed him to. It was bad. So go Spence. Phoenix powers help Violet understand the wind. Because remember, Lilith is also known as the mistress of wind, so she's able to control the winds and have shields of wind. And because Phoenix has the power of wind, Violet can't travel at the speed of the wind, but she can understand it. She can't become the wind, excuse me. Where is it? Oh, Lilith is the wind in her, and has her windshield. So, oh my god, this is crazy. So Phoenix stabbed Lilith with a dagger, and then Lilith stabbed Phoenix with a dagger, and Phoenix didn't need to kill Lilith, just to weaken her, which Violet stabbed Lilith with Gregory blade-shaped katanas in her chest and released all of her power to paralyze her. Then she cut her wrist with her Gregory dagger and stabbed Lilith's heart for her mother, Phoenix, the kids, and Lincoln. Oh, that was awesome! I love that part. That was gotta be one of the best moments of this book. And then Yuri and Nox came for Lilith. Violet crossed over into the Angel Realm and gave them Lilith. And Nox and Yuri pointed out that Violet is balanced with the powers of light and dark. Yep, Lochmet is of the light. No angel malign would ever take the form of a lion. And of course, Violet spat blood at Nox's feet, and Lilith cut Violet's hip. Yeah. And oh shit, the angel maligns are gelling. We're gelling. Don't deny it, Nox. Seriously, don't deny it. And I knew it. I knew, and as I said earlier, I knew Phoenix was gonna be Violet's anchor. And Phoenix died, but he didn't die right away because it wasn't a Gregory. It was so sad. He died. Phoenix died. No. And his last words were, this was so sad, his last words were, love makes us eternal, I'm sorry. And his body doesn't disappear, though, because he's part human. Remember, he's part human. Where are we? And whoa, since Violet has Phoenix essence, she has a mutated version of his empath powers and can lock away her emotions. And Spence got the Gregory scripture, and now he's getting Link's body out, and sadly he couldn't get Phoenix's body out, so that's his grave is the mansion. The Weird Exile is immune to Violet's mist, and he took a vial of Violet's blood for research, and seriously, who the fuck is this guy? And Violet blinked and he was gone. And Violet rescued the kids, and good Simon's awesome. He stayed behind to make sure the rest of the kids were safe. And I gotta say this too, I thought it was sweet that right before Violet went up to go get crucified, that they were singing a prayer, that they were praying, and it was so beautiful that Violet was so moved that she started crying. And Simon and the kids came back to rescue Violet because Violet was blacking out, and just as the building was about to collapse, and it was like, oh, go kids, and seriously, they will be great Gregory someday. And Kate and Simon and some of the other Gregory kids said they dreamed of an angel that looked like Violet saving them, and it's like, oh, go Lochmet, go Lochmet, did something right. And finally, Josephine gets it. It took Violet destroying exiles, but now she fucking gets it. About commie damn time. Violet's Gregory testing has been reevaluated to a unanimous pass. Yay! And Evelyn is living with Violet and her dad as a family, which is awesome. And it's sad that the 18 years have been stolen from them, though. It really is. And it's cool and sad that Violet can block out Lochmet thanks to Phoenix, even though they need to talk. And I love Spence. No matter what, Violet, he's going with you. He's good backup, and plus you drive like shit. Because Violet is going to jump off the cliff again. Yeah, you gotta love the full circle shit. And Violet was like, after Spence brought up the driving bit, Violet's like, he makes a good point. See, Eden, you can't resist me. No one can. I was like, I love Spence. And so they're back to the cliff where it all began. I just love it. And this, remember that in Embrace, this was all for Lincoln. Same shit. And I love that Spence tried to go back into the mansion for Phoenix's body, but the fire was so bad that the other Gregory prevented him. So, as I mentioned, the mansion was now Phoenix's coffin. And Violet tells Yuri she wants to speak to Locksmith and refuses to surrender. And Violet requested 3 things from Locksmith now that she won the war against Lilith. And if he grants these requests, she will become a Gregory like no other and kill every exile that threatens humanity. But it has to be her way, her rules. So it's the Angel Maker that has to choose. And oh, how the tables have turned. And yes, it's like Evelyn. So the first request is to let Evelyn and her dad have a chance, and to give her dad back the years that were stolen from him to something similar. And that can be done, but it has to be done from their free will, of course. And Violet isn't sure if she will be included in the picture or not. And the second request was Phoenix to have a chance of peace, and done since he achieved redemption, which is something rare for an exile, human or angel. And the third request is to return Lincoln's soul, which he can't, but Violet may be able to. And the reflections that Violet was seeing behind Yuri and Nox are actually souls, are imprints of lost souls. So Violet has to find Lincoln's soul amongst the lost souls. And if Violet can convince Phoenix to allow it, holy commune Arceus, Phoenix is no longer a haunted angel. And yeah, Phoenix says when Violet goes through the reflections, they all want you. You represent life and everything they long for. Whatever it was that led to this place, to this in between, they crave what you have. They will suffocate you with their desires. You won't have long to find them. And according to Phoenix, in order to bring him back, Lincoln's soul must be absorbed into Violet's power. And otherwise, when Violet leaves, he won't be able to leave. So Violet has to use her heart to draw Violet, or use, Phoenix will know, So Violet has to use her heart to draw Lincoln's soul to her because his soul will be confused. And Phoenix will know when Violet has his soul and send her back, and Phoenix will visit her dreams when she calls. And yay! She found him! I love Jessica's writing, how she described it, too. It was her falling star, her beacon, her reflection. He was still the sun. I was like, oh, I love that. That's so sweet. And Spence said Violet was out for 20 minutes, and hurry, Spence, to Lincoln's! And everyone was at Lincoln's apartment, even Onyx. And Steph said that Violet's eyes were green, and Link's soul was released back into his body with a kiss, and it's always a kiss. Yes, it's always a kiss. Always a kiss. And I love Onyx on Phoenix being an angel. That was so hilarious. He was like, well, that figures redemption, that sly bitch. Don't worry, Onyx, you'll get your redemption too. And Phoenix said Violet had to stay with Lincoln for a few days since she was the one who brought him back. And sadly, no chance of Violet finding Nyla Spence. And in a couple of weeks, Spence gets his partner. Yay! And don't shut up, Steph. Violet, don't. And Steph is awesome. Like, Steph will always be there, though. And she said that Zoe and Sal will be in the city to help Griff, too. And Steph on Dapper and Onyx, I love it. Yeah, they're in and out. Dapper brings food, and Onyx brings, well, nothing. He comes. I think that's the most he can manage. And I agree that Onyx and Dapper are totally together since they fight and are always together. Plus, Onyx is one of those moves into serious guy's way since he didn't take Lilith's offer. It was like a total Vegeta move, actually, if you think about it. And according to Evelyn, Dad is pissed, and but has the proud to be Dad smile and cocky sort of walk. And yes, Evelyn had a dream with Locksmith, and Evelyn is touched that Violet called her mom. Yes, she called her mom. And also, Evelyn says that if she does this, she will no longer be a Gregory and have to move. And on the third day, Violet told Dapper to come by, and Lincoln and Violet's souls were no longer joined, but they are still soulmates. The soul longing pain is real, and it's time to collect that favor. And Violet is leaving Lincoln. Well, at least she's going to keep in touch with Steph. I guess it's, you know, the thing is like, it's kind of bittersweet because I understand that Violet wants to find herself and she hasn't had the chance to, so this is good for her. And, you know, and she needs to do it alone. and Evelyn decided to no longer be Gregory and to be with Dad. And I thought that was so sweet that they're gonna be together, and and it shows you that's true love right there. That Evelyn was willing to give up her Gregory, being a Gregory, to be with Violet's dad, and that's awesome. And I love it. I love it. I love the love. And I mentioned earlier that Evelyn has more than one safe house, and I bring the question if Jonathan's Glamour is still holding there. And I think I'm gonna cry too. I love it. What Evelyn said, because her dad was like smiling. He was so happy. Surprisingly, he wasn't sad that Evelyn looked old. She said, I know this isn't what you expected, but I wanted to grow up for a long time, and although your dad and I won't get back the years we lost, the years ahead will be ours. And that's when I was like, this is great writing. And Spence was waiting by the taxi, and I know this is bullshit, Spence, and at least Dapper is going to look out for Spence until he gets his partner, and Griffin and Lincoln too. And I was like, oh, Spence. He's like, he said, you're the only damn family I have, and it's not true. Like, you have at Lincoln, you have Dapper, you have Onyx, you have Steph, you have Zoe, you have Sal. You have them too, and Griffin. And using the site to see Lincoln, and they're at the airport now, looking at the now finished wall. The painting that had started out, I love how, remember, the wall that we saw at Embrace, that was white. The painting that had started out as a solitary white lily, and now depicted a whole field of them beneath a violet sky and golden sun. I was like, oh, let him get her, Griffin, just let him get her. And the note Violet left Lincoln, and I see what you did, Jessica. See it. Nothing is endless. I know that now. Let me go, V. And it's like, no! I was so mad. And it ends with Violet and her family heading on the plane, and damn it, I had to cry. I know Violet is trying to find herself, but Link will never find another partner. And that's where Endless ends. And I have to ask you, Book Nerdigans, what you thought of this book. I love this book. I love all of Jessica Shirvington's books. I really do. I really do. This one was amazing, and I love the writing. It's just I love the diction. I love the storytelling. I love how Lilith gets her ass beat. I love how Violet is totally Urza. And this would be a very un-Urza thing for her to do, though. Actually, maybe this would be an Urza thing to do. I don't know. But anyway, I'm curious what you guys think. What did you guys think of the battle between Lilith and Violet? What did you guys think about how Violet got Lincoln's soul back? What did you think about the writing, especially with the love scenes? Because there have been books like 50 Shades of Grey where it's been blatant, and there was actually a snippet of Jace and Clary's sex scene on Twitter that Cassandra Clare posted, and it was okay. I mean, it was kind of blunt, but it wasn't like how this is. This is the kind of writing I like in sex scenes, when it comes to sex scenes. And I want to know what you think about Evelyn's decision too, and I want to know what your overall thoughts about this book and about this series. You're going to get my final thoughts on this series in the Empower Book Nerdigan video, because that is the final one. But until next time, Book Nerdigans, I will see you in the Empower Book Nerdigan video, which is the final book in the Violet Eden series. Until next time, Book Nerdigans, keep on reading.